I want to try accessing the Raspberry Pi in headless mode, which means it doesn't have its own keyboard or mouse. I'd rather use the keyboard and mouse on my laptop and then communicate with the Raspberry Pi over the local network. In this case, the local network is my own network at home, but I might also want to access using a network at, say, school. So let's see what we can do here. In order to connect to the Raspberry Pi from my computer via the network, I need to know the IP address of my Raspberry Pi. So in order to do that, I've got a few options. One of them is to, in this case, I'm going to use my own router to find the IP address. And this is not the optimal way to do this in school. But let's try this one out anyway. While my router is opening, let's see, I get to attach devices on my router. I'm going to click on that. And while that's opening, I'm going to open up a couple of other applications. One's called VNC Viewer, which we'll use to look at the desktop on the Raspberry Pi, and one is called PuTTY that we'll use to actually make the initial connection to the Raspberry Pi. So if I come back here on my router tells me that a device name called Raspberry Pi is been assigned the IP address 192.168.125. So now I know the IP address that I want to use. So I'm going to go back to the PuTTY terminal here, type 192.168.125, and see if I can get a connection going. I get a login screen, which is looking good, and I want to type in the password that I gave. My Raspberry Pi on the SD card also has a file called SSH, a text file with absolutely nothing in it, which allows this connection to take place. Right now in this window, I'm actually on the Raspberry Pi, so I can list and look at the stuff that's there. But maybe I want to see the desktop. So in order to do that, I'm going to, on the Raspberry Pi, start a server called VNC server. And I'm going to give it a number like, let's say 5 there. I can give it a number, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. And I'm hoping now that I will have opened a connection that will allow me to use VNC Viewer right here, 192.168.125, and then port 5, we said, to see the Raspberry Pi. It's complaining that it doesn't know very much about this. I'll say it's okay. I know what it is. No problem. I'm going to type in Pi as the username and the password. I'll give it that I set up on the Pi, and there we go. Already we're on the Raspberry Pi. So I can access it, take a look at the various programs if I want to, and I'm doing this right now over my own router at home. So we'll take a look in a moment at alternative ways to find the IP address for our Raspberry Pi.